to his credit, enter Bill Maher on the matter on his show this past Friday. And here's a little bit of that.
Look me in the eye and tell me anyone could have done worse. We just got our ass kicked by fire. The good news is our fire chief is a lesbian.
In this video, Megyn Kelly discusses DEI with guest Nicole Shanahan on the Megyn Kelly Show. Megyn Kelly and her guests react to a clip of Bill Maher ripping California's response to the California wildfires. With that, let's watch Megyn Kelly and Bill Maher wreck the left and their preposterous DEI policies.
Fires. I know you live a little north of that. You're in Northern California, but the debate that's unfolded in the wake of this, and it's ongoing now that Palisades fire is, I think, 63% contained. And I just heard my pal Janice Dean saying on Fox News this morning, they expect rain this weekend. So that's good in the area. We're hoping and praying that's true. But, the whole thing has been a level of incompetence that we haven't seen in recent history. I mean, it's just been absolutely devastating. And the intense focus by the LAFD on DEI and promoting the fact that the fire chief is a lesbian and so are her top two lieutenants, which no one cares about at all. She just keeps introducing it into the national conversation, has led to a lot of commentary, mostly on the right. But to his credit, enter Bill Maher on the matter on his show this past Friday. And here's a little bit of that.
Look me in the eye and tell me anyone could have done worse. We just got our ass kicked by fire. The good news is our fire chief is a lesbian. Am I against a lesbian being chief? Of course not. Do I think a lesbian can do the job? Of course I do. And maybe she's the best person for the job. Or maybe they really wanted a lesbian in that job and she's just the best lesbian for the job. And with essential services, that's not good enough. Crowley's official bio says Chief Crowley leads a diverse department, creating, supporting, and
If you like watching videos like this one, like and subscribe. We'd really appreciate it. Let's get back to the video.
promoting a culture that values diversity, inclusion, and equity while striving to meet and exceed the expectations of the communities. Well, you didn't exceed my expectations, which was that the whole city wouldn't burn down.
Fair?
Again, I would love someone to do a great job in their role. I wish that she was successful. I wish that we didn't have to have this conversation. I wish that DEI policies weren't such a massive failure for the public. I am a classic liberal who, loves to see diversity in the state of California, but it has to be around egalitarian merit. And that is not what's happened here. Our controller, who manages the finances of our state, she ran on DEI, and that was pretty much her biggest platform. You cannot make that your biggest platform when you are running for these roles. I'm sorry, it is inappropriate. It is not what makes you qualified for these roles. What makes you qualified for these roles is your understanding of how to execute very, very well. And in the case of LA,
Obviously, there's a lot of blame to go around for what happened in California. I mean, when you have a uniparty state and everyone's into identity politics, disasters like this are inevitably going to happen. This Nicole Shanahan here is at least being reasonable. She's on the left, but she acknowledges that someone's identity doesn't qualify him for a job. She mentioned egalitarianism, meritocracy. I think it's a defining characteristic of this country, or should be at least. And, with Donald Trump doing away with DEI departments and all the federal institutions, I think that's great because, when it comes to something like public safety or serving the public, public institutions, DEI doesn't belong anywhere near it. It doesn't belong near any business, but a private business, if they want to employ it and learn the hard way that it's a giant joke, go ahead. But in our public institutions, all this does is highlight the failures of DEI, which anyone with a brain knew that DEI was failing. You started seeing big companies, even public institutions like colleges and stuff, getting rid of their DEI or diversity departments, whatever the hell they called them. It does seem like liberals have a short memory, especially in California, though, because disaster after disaster occurs there and nothing changes. They continue to vote Democrat. I think it would take California falling into the ocean or something for them to finally wake up, because it just blows my mind what an incompetent, evil a-hole Gavin Newsom is. But if you talk to liberals out there, he's doing a great job. He taxes the you-know-what out of them, and they get nothing for their money. It's a big joke. Anyway, let's get back to the video.
The fires, we needed that reservoir full. We needed the departments well funded. We needed the fleets of vehicles properly maintained. And that wasn't happening. And again, the problem with DEI, why DEI failed, was because they treated it as ceremonial. It's very misguided. And if you hear the talk in these communities, it's very much, the whites had their time, now it's time for us. And they treat it as if it's a ceremonial passing of the guard from one group of ethnicities to another group of ethnicities. But that is wrong. That is not how you govern. I'm sorry. And if that did lead to success,
earlier in the clip, Bill Maher put up a screenshot about the fire chief lesbian, and I don't know if you got a chance to read the whole thing, or maybe he did, but I'm going to read it again. Chief Crowley leads a diverse department, creating, supporting, and promoting a culture that values diversity, inclusion, and equity, while striving to meet and exceed the expectations of the communities. Do you know what you don't hear in there? Anything about putting out fires or protecting people. The word diversity is in this, 25-word statement twice. The words, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to see where Los Angeles government's priorities lie. Here's something else that bothers me. So obviously when a public institution employs this radical woke agenda of DEI, the people that are hurt the most are the citizens, as is happening in this worst case scenario. Well, I guess I shouldn't say it. It can always get worse, but very, very bad scenario in California. But another group that gets hurt really, really badly and very, very unfairly with this whole DEI thing is anyone who's considered a minority or a person from a quote unquote marginalized community. Anytime that they've achieved a level of success through hard work and being the best at what they do, it can cause people to look at them with the side eye like, are they good at their job, or did they just get the job because of their skin color or their sexual identity or whatever else? And it's not my intent to white knight here. I think I'm just stating a fact, but it's a fact that goes overlooked. It seems like the people that do things the right way are often some of the biggest victims with this woke agenda. The same thing goes for legal immigrants. There's 24-hour news coverage about illegal immigrants and how sad everyone is for them and how they're wonderful people. But what about the legal immigrants that waited in line, went through the process, and came in the country the right way? It's such a slap in the face to them. No one talks about legal immigrants and what an insult it is to them that we just open the barn door to our border and just let herds of people in. It's crazy. Anyway, let's wrap up the video.
It would be the first time in human history that merely basing competition on skin color, it conflates these things that are completely incompatible. And so it's not that it's wrong on its face, is that it doesn't work, right? Mm-hmm. It really, really doesn't work. And, the idea of diversity is wonderful, but it can't be racist. And so, again, they're conflating two terms, diversity and the function of racism. And so it's problematic. We need to go back to common sense. Common sense requires us to look at an individual for their work and their actions, and that alone.
She hit it on the head. It doesn't work. Sad thing is, we all knew that, but the left has always had an agenda, so they pushed it anyway, because in their hearts they knew it was BS too. And I think it's disgusting that it takes something as tragic as these devastating California wildfires for people to either wake up to that fact and or just admit the fact that it doesn't work. I'm continuing to pray for anybody who's out there rebuilding. And if you're listening from California or Los Angeles or have any family affected by it, it might not mean much, but I hope you understand that I am praying for you and thinking about you. And I know that you'll get through this. But we want to hear from you. What do you all think about this debacle with DEI? And we didn't even get into all the other failures during this response to the California wildfires. Let us know what you think. Anyway, as always, really appreciate you watching, and we will see you on the next one.